You are listening to Waywut? This is a weekly rabbit hole podcast that goes into a variety of topics ranging from the supernatural to sports to science or anything else that we find interesting. We post episodes every Tuesday. We post on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Please follow us on any of those. If you prefer video, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to talk to us or keep up with any random information we decide to talk about, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, under @Waywut Podcast. That does it for all the self-promotion stuff. Thank you for listening, and here we go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Waywut. Here I am with the Lindblad super operator to my stochastic master equation, Jason.
What the fuck did you just say?
Oh, come on. Don't act like you don't know what a Lindblad super operator is.
Oh, that. I thought you said Sinbad super operator.
No, Lindblad.
Okay.
Pretty sure I'm
That makes
pronouncing that right. Yeah. All right. So today's going to be pretty fun. This episode was actually a requested episode from one of our listeners.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, this one holds a lot of sway with us, and like somebody, like it's my wife. She kept asking me, it's like, hey, could you do an episode about this? And I'm like, I don't know. And then finally researched it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's plenty to work with here. So this one is for her. So here you go, Denise. Love you. Thank you for helping fund all this. But before we jump into all this, this is going to be a bit of a different kind of rant. It's a realist rant. I do feel like I am a realist for the most part.
I would think so.
Yeah. And while researching this, I became, sitting there. Here's some spoilers. I was sitting there thinking about time travel, and time travel is actually terrifying, and not necessarily for the reasons you think it would be. Not like Time Cop where you get mushed in with like your other self or something. A lot of times when people think about time travel, they think about going to the past and killing Hitler, or keeping JFK from being assassinated, or making sure High Seed never stops making the Ecto cooler. That kind of thing.
Yeah, going back to high school, playing football again.
Yeah. And well, all the terror in that is well known. You change something back then and it changes more than what you intended to change. And you end up where Andy Dick is president or Mr. Rogers becomes a military dictator. It jacks everything up. I think they say that to make, when you make time travel, ensure that you can't change the past, you can only observe, say that they do that, they just make it where it's like, you can go back there and you can just watch. You're like invisible or like a ghost in that time. Do you know how apathetic the entire world will become? Yep. I know me, and I would be terrible. I'd be awful. I'd want to go back and see if there was a grassy knoll shooter, or see if John Wilkes Booth actually did escape, only to later become a mummy. I mean, I would sit there with some popcorn and watch like all these atrocities throughout history just to have answers.
Instead of stopping it, just going back and figuring it all out.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing this weekend? I'm gonna get a 6-pack and check out who murdered John Washlow's son. Oh, so that's why we have America's Most Wanted. Time for a field trip, kids. Everybody pack a lunch. We're going to go watch the Boston Massacre.
They do that on Back to the Future Part 3? Didn't he go and didn't Doc have a bunch of kids or have a couple of kids he was showing them the history through time?
You're thinking of the cartoon series that came out after.
Oh.
At Back to the Future 3, you just saw that he had a couple kids.
Or kind of like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where they go through time and learn through history.
Yeah, sort of, but they were actually interacting with it. I mean, this would just be like the newest and realist form of reality TV.
Oh, you'd be kind of like Bran on Game of Thrones, where you would just go and watch it.
Yeah, going back in time to watch Britney Spears have her head shaving meltdown in person. I mean, I would totally go watch that. Absolutely. All right. So, but here's another thing. Say we toss out going back in time without being capable of changing things. What if we go to more like the in game sort of time travel, where it's more multiversal time travel, where you're not going back in time in your universe, you're going to back to in time in a different universe. Whenever you go back in time, you're not in your own timeline anymore. You're in a whole
Right.
other universe.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I mean, and if you want to get really complicated, whenever a lot of like scientists talk about this, there's, essentially you're creating a new universe with your arrival. It's really weird.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's new. It's something different.
Yeah. Well, today is not about quantum observation, so I'm not really going to go all through this. So back to
Aw.
the rant. All right. So you can travel whenever you want in time, wherever you want in time, and do whatever you want without any concerns of it impacting your universe and timeline.
Oh.
Yeah, that would give every single person a sandbox to do whatever they want without consequence.
I'd play in that sandbox.
Yeah, it would be, but it would also be a psychopath creator. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone would go there and like save Lincoln or stop 9/11, and then you would get bored with it. And so then you would, you go back and, I'm going to go back and kill some Nazis, and you go home and have dinner. But how long until it's not Nazis? How long until you go back in time and try to hook up with Cleopatra or Marilyn Monroe?
Oh yeah, that would
How
be up
long?
there.
Yeah. How long until you go back in time and rob a bank just because you can?
Rob it with somebody famous, Billy the
I wouldn't
Kid or
even need to be
something.
with anybody famous because nothing matters. People can't be trusted without consequences. I know I can't. I mean, you put me in that, I'm gonna just go around and be like, none of you really matter anyways. You're hardly real,
Westworld.
I mean, I could think of a bunch of stuff I would do if I could get away with it. I mean, I would totally go back to ancient times with all sorts of technology and try to build a whole new religion just for giggles.
All right.
I mean, I swear, I really do want to be a cult leader.
Yeah, a few times you brought this up now.
So I'm all right. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this here because I don't want to think about it too much, or about how much of a tyrant I have rolling around in my brain, or cult leader, whatever. Both of them, yeah, one and the same. But this leads me to today's topic. So, as I said, this was a request from my wife, and we are going to talk about a man who is a lawyer and a journalist. He ran for president, and he claims to be a time traveler.
All right.
Yeah. All right, here you go, Denise. This is for you, baby. All right. Andrew Basiago was born in September 1961 in New Jersey. It's in New Jersey. He got degrees at UCLA and Cambridge and eventually became a lawyer. This is a high level on his early life because, according to Andrew, as a child, he was a chrononaut.
A chrononaut.
A chrononaut. So instead of somebody that, like an astronaut that explores space, this is someone that explores time.
Okay.
Now, how does a child get chosen to be a chrononaut? Well, one, nepotism. His father was a member of the Defense Technical Committee, and he was also a chrononaut as well. Now, what is that Defense Technical Committee? Andrew says that his father worked with the committee that prepared for extraterrestrial visitors and Soviet threats. Wide range.
Yeah, so that's a wide range. You got stuff coming from outer space, and then the Russians. Don't forget about the Russians.
Oh, I like to sit there and think it's like they're like, "Oh my God, China's invading." He's like, "That's not my problem."
Yeah, I'll strictly only aliens and Russians only.
Are they teaming up with aliens? No. Well, then I ain't messing with that. You go
yeah, back. Wrong number.
Yeah. So according to Andrew, his father told him that he knew he was going to be part of the time travel project when he happened to see Andrew at the Gettysburg Address when he traveled back to watch it.
He saw his own son at the same Gettysburg Address. Okay.
Before he was an actual time traveler.
Okay.
Yeah, well, because it happened already.
Okay.
I don't know. It don't make any sense.
Is he disappearing in pictures yet?
I'll get to that. But it wasn't just straight nepotism. The program specifically chose intelligent children that were physically small. They would scout kids from gifted and talented programs. I need to get a new light. That's just completely unprofessional light.
Yeah. All these podcasters are listening to us right now. How dare that your light goes out?
Hey, it's for the video watchers. I want to look good.
Well, you sound wonderful.
So they would scout kids from gifted and talented programs because if I recall correctly, you were in that in elementary school, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't. Dick. They couldn't spot talent or gifts. Anyway.
I was also in speech therapy till 3rd grade, so
yeah, I know.
I had that going for me. You pick a letter, I couldn't say it very well.
I understood you just fine.
I probably could still use it.
If you think Jason still needs speech therapy, comment down below. All right. All right. Well, Andrew states that there were 200 chrononauts. 140 of them were children, and the other 60 were adults. However, he did name drop one participant in regards to a later experiment, but I'm just going to tease that for now because it's fun.
Okay.
So stay tuned to listen and
find out who that is.
Yeah. He does explain why children were the ones selected. First, to see how this technology impacted children in particular. Second, the chronovisor worked better with people with small stature. Full-size adults would cause the holograms created by the chronovisor to collapse.
The DeLorean is such a better name.
Well, the chronovisor, I'll explain what it is, and there's a lot here. There's a lot. Third, kids were blank slates when it comes to perception and had fewer experiences that would taint their perception.
I would agree with that.
You get these little wide-eyed, innocent children and just like, okay, this is all good. Whatever.
That's why they could learn languages quicker.
Yeah. It's true. They got those mushy sponge brains. Fourth, it was the hope that by the time that they were grown, they would be full-fledged chrononauts with years and years of experience. So you get this good batch of like young hot shots, like Maverick and stuff from Top Gun, that kind of thing.
Doesn't the Boy Scouts get some kind of patch for that?
For chrononauts? I don't believe so.
Try after making fire?
No.
No? All right.
And the final reason is kids seem to have more flexible minds and showed fewer psychological issues than adults when moving through various timelines. Because apparently it's a bit stressful on the brain. Which I could see that because that's what I was saying earlier. You kind of, if you're giving carte blanche in some situations, which this one is not multiversal time travel. This is more, he's talking about traveling back and forth in our own timelines. Now, the program's purpose to develop and refine time machine and teleport. The program's purpose. There we go.
I have a good speech therapy teacher if you need her.
Shut up. The program's purpose was to develop and refine a time machine and teleporter based on the research and notes of Nikola Tesla. Which anytime anybody wants to sit there and like bring up anything sci-fi-ish or whatever, they bring up Tesla. And it's not, Tesla was brilliant and he did all sorts of amazing things. But his career's a bit mysterious because, he got pretty much stonewalled by a lot of stuff because Thomas Edison was an absolute utter dick. Just a total piece of shit. Just a bad person. And so he kind of was like died alone and without a bunch of money. And so he's a nice little mystery. It's kind of like how everybody likes to, say everything's Atlantis related. All right, so for those who don't care about inventors from back in the day, I'm going to tell you about Tesla. He was a Serbian inventor that moved to the U.S. in 1884 and competed with that douchehole Thomas Edison. He developed things like alternating current, remote radio control remotes, and other electric stuff that I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
He was very eccentric, and he died poor at the age of 86 in 1943 at the Hotel New Yorker. Now, it is documented that the FBI sent out an order to confiscate his belongings after his death. That's documented.
They want his research.
But according to Andrew, the Defense Department got there first and took all of his notes before the FBI got there to confiscate the other stuff.
Hmm.
Now, initially, they tested the device I mentioned earlier, the chronovisor. Now, imagine glasses that make you see the past or future around you as if you're really there. It's kind of like the ones that you always see in
AI
Martin
shit, you
Scorsese.
know?
Yeah. Now, according to him, it worked very sporadically, and they had like no control over it. Like the holograms that it would put up around them were shaky and not very stable. But he also used that he also claimed that the government used it to view and film numerous historical events, such as the signing of the Constitution. Yeah, I know. It's just like, well, dude, share. I want to see that.
Yeah. I want to sign it. I throw my name in there somewhere towards the bottom. No, we would never know.
Well, no, this one they're not actually back there; they're just observing.
Oh.
So imagine you have a peephole into the past or the future, because they would also use it to record the future, so that they could, see things. Now, speaking of the future, Andrew claims that he has traveled as far as 2045 into the future. Now, if they went that far ahead, then they would know about the history of everything before 2044. You'd think,
Yes.
but in the future of the kids from the early 70s, it's all their future. So, it's technically our past. And he says that he went there and he got microfilm, which apparently that's still a thing in 2045, which we barely use it
That's
now.
weird. Yeah, that's everything's getting dumped onto digital.
Yeah. And he says that he got a microfilm that detailed world events from 1972 to 2045. 2045. One of those events included 9/11, and they did not see fit to change it.
What? Why?
Now, his reasoning for them not changing it is that 2045 looks pretty good, and they don't want to play God and screw that up. It's like 2045 apparently is pretty fly, so it's like, what if we don't do that, and then, next thing you know, everybody's
2045 not so fly.
yeah. He says in 2045 that people are taller because nutrition is better and neonatal care is also better. So everybody's growing up stronger and better. He also says it's because genetic engineering has been improved. And, so people can kind of tweak their genes, cosmetically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for all you short kings out there, won't be seeing you in the future. The environment is doing better because teleportation becomes the new method of travel, and eliminates the need for
Spaceballs.
cars. Yeah, except I don't think these are like put your ass in the front. Why didn't somebody tell me my ass was this big?
I don't know. I wish that sometimes makes it easier to scratch it.
That's just wrong. Well, according to Andrew, he got to test the teleportation device.
All right, where do you go?
He claims that
Don't you need two of them though?
yes. He claimed that by jumping into a light that was in the portal that was in the device, it transported him from New Jersey all the way to New Mexico.
Oh, sticking with the new theme.
Yeah. He also claimed that unlike the chronovisor that allowed people to view the future or past, the teleportation device, which also had time travel capabilities, only allowed for people to move forward in time. So it could zap you anywhere in the present, or it could also zap you somewhere into the future. Which, of course, they tested on the children.
Of course.
Yeah.
They should have tested it on rats.
Do you really want more rats in the future?
No, send them. Oh, no. True. Okay.
All right.
You're right. They can send them to another place.
The one this one he describes, the teleportation device, like a soccer goal that's all glowy inside. And they had to run and jump into it. Now, it was very important that when they jumped, that they had to tuck their arms and legs in like a cannonball. Because this was a teleporting time travel device, they had to make sure to make themselves smaller to prevent from being teleported into some object in their arrival area.
Right. Kind of like the whole cut and paste.
I watched an interview with him, and he told a story about traveling back in time to some unnamed town in New Mexico, where one of the kids did not tuck in their legs, and on arrival, the kid's feet were in the bottom of a fountain, like in the bottom part of it, like the concrete or rock or whatever.
Oh, he was part of the fountain?
Yeah, he said the boy materialized, and once it was complete, he fell down with no feet, and his feet were left inside the base of the fountain.
Holy shit.
He left the story there, but it bothers me that he doesn't use that to prove what he's talking about. Like, hey, go to this place and,
check the boy with no feet.
They break open the ground and find these, like little kids' skeleton feet at the bottom of this fountain. But, just saying, it might be a way to, prove people like me wrong. So think about this. You're a 9 to 12-year-old kid risking your life to travel in time. What times do you go to?
9 and 10-year-olds risking
9 to 12.
9 to 12, risking your life to go to time. They're going to go to the future. No, they're going to go back to dinosaurs.
Well, in his case, you go back and watch Lincoln get assassinated 6 times.
What? Why would you do that?
6 times.
Not get better camera angles? Or?
No. He said it was an effort, which I realized that whenever earlier I was sitting there talking about how that one time travel device only traveled to the future. Mm-hmm. This is a whole other device that I'll also get to be describing later, one that allowed people to physically go back in time.
All right.
And what they learned is that there are certain things in the past that the timeline will not allow those moments to change. And Lincoln's assassination is one of them. Said that no matter what he did, it always just happened. So.
One of the things that would have been happened no matter what.
Yep. And as I said earlier, he went to the Gettysburg Address. And his father went there too. But that was before Andrew was even a chrononaut. He says that his father saw him, and at that moment, he knew his son was going to be joining that program. But the other thing that happened is Andrew says that he was the very first chrononaut to be photographed. There is a picture from the Gettysburg Address that has a young boy, and he says that one was him. He claims that he was dressed like a Union drummer boy, and he shows up in that photograph. He also claims that the photograph got him while he was phasing back into his time. So you're able to see skull and teeth and through his skin. I've looked at the photograph. I see a blurry kid. That's all I see. I mean, it's just a blurry kid.
You said he was dressed like a Union soldier. So he has
Union drummer boy.
A Union drummer boy. So he has to dress up like that before he travels back into time?
You can't go back dressed like, if I went back to the Roaring 20s dressed like this, they'd be like, right. What the hell is wrong with you?
Where would you get your costume? Is there a Roaring 20 store to go to just to pick up?
You can get costumes. Hell, Amazon, you can buy costumes. But I mean, back then, look, if he was a government test subject, I'm sure that they had like their own little government seamstress or whatever. It's like, your job is to make us time travel costumes.
Wow. Betsy
Now,
Ross of her time.
yeah. Now, going back to what you said earlier, he also says that he went back to the age of dinosaurs. But in all the interviews I found, he never really went into details. It's just like, one time I saw dinosaurs. That's it. I mean, I guess there isn't much
Wow.
else to say. I mean, what kind of dinosaurs did you see, or whether or
Big
not they
ass
have
ones.
feathers, like some people say, or I saw dinosaurs, and when I got back, we had Slurpees, and for once, all the Slurpee machines were working, so I was able to put all the flavors in, and then we got home to watch and went and watch cartoons. Something. Give me more. You
Yeah.
know, it's just it makes no sense. It's like just tell me like what kind of Slurpee did you get? Did you
Yeah.
get cherry or raspberry?
You go to see JF or Lincoln get assassinated 6 times, but you couldn't go back to see the dinosaurs more than once or have more details.
Yeah, it's like come on, give me more.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd be like, well, they were big. Some ate plants, others ate other dinosaurs, but after though, I went and watched the best cartoons. It's like no.
Yeah. You're skipping over the whole plot.
Well, he continues his lack of descriptions as he tells about how he would go on to what he described as some time vacations. Uh, you know, Time vacations that you take in a very dangerous machine that was, still experimental.
Sounds relaxing.
Yeah. He would go to various historical periods for what he called in person history lessons. So, kind of like what you were talking about with Bill and Ted. And fortunately for him, none of them cost him his feet.
He tucked.
Well, what else did he do? He, in his own words, he aged up one summer. Uh, and he did that. The whole purpose of it was him to getting an additional summer when he was a kid. He arranged things to get additional summer. So at the end of summer, he was like 6 months older than what he was whenever he was the year before. So after spending
Huh?
a summer look, all right, you're a kid. He's a kid,
I'm a kid.
and he
Okay.
spends his summer at his home in New Jersey. So June, July, August. That's home in New Jersey. School's about to start. Well, he teleports to New Mexico and travels back in time to spend his summer,
Oh, you get
that
two
he's already
summers.
did
Is
in
that
New
mulligan?
Mexico. Yeah. And then once he finished, he went back to 1 hour after he originally left. So he's only gone an hour, but all of a sudden he's 3 months older.
Okay.
Yeah. And apparently he did that a lot to the point, not necessarily that, but he would age a lot. And
Like kind of like in Click. You seen the movie Click where
yeah,
it would fast forward his time for him or his life, and he would wake up and he's 40 years older.
pretty much, but more like in months.
Okay.
All right. He also claims that this program has alien technology that they're using for the to travel time and to teleport. Um, so, if we have alien tech to do this, what's the next logical step? Mars. Duh.
Duh.
So back in 2012, Andrew, along with another supposed chrononaut named William Stillings, got a lot of press about their claim that they visited Mars on 2 occasions between 1981 and 1983. Now, just because two guys are running around saying that they went to Mars back in the early 80s is not usually enough to get news attention because, I'm pretty sure you can hear most homeless people say that. Now, but it was more had to do with the story. So while they were in Mars training class and they were with 8 other cadets, they met a 19-year-old young man going by the name Barry Soetoro. You may know him by his presidential name, Barack Obama. Barry Soetoro was the name that he went by sometimes when he was a kid. It's his mother's name, Soetoro. So that part is true that he would use that name. The Mars thing, though, that's a little bit on the iffy side, I would say.
Yeah,
But
perhaps.
according to the Chrononauts, those two guys and the future president went to Mars with the mission to acclimate the Martian humanoids and animals to their presence. Get the natives used to us. The people that live on Mars and the
Oh
animals
yeah,
that live on Mars.
like Matt Damon. You talking like Matt Damon?
No, no, he means Martians. And I mean, they must have done a good job because he says that there are a number of U.S. bases on Mars.
Oh,
Yeah, so we did good.
sure. There's a
Now,
Starbucks up there too.
yeah, but the White House did. When this story came out, the White House denied that Obama ever went to Mars, and that they also denied that the government funded any kind of Mars trading class. But of course, they would deny it. I mean, come on, you really expect them to be like, "All right, you got us."
He
Here you
really
go.
is from Mars.
Well,
Yeah.
wasn't
Or
that
he
he's
went
from
to
Mars?
Mars.
He
Yeah.
went to Mars. Uh, so after this high level look at Andrew Basiago's adventures in science, let's take a moment to look at what he's doing now. Look at the present. We've been looking at the past, been looking at the future. Let's look at the now. Because it's only logical that a time traveler could set himself up with a pretty good future, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, as stated before, he is a practicing attorney. He is a practicing attorney. More than that, though, he is an author. He has written a short book called The Discovery of Life on Mars. But more than both of those, he is a whistleblower.
Ooh.
Yep.
Snitches get stitches.
Yep. Being a whistleblower about a government sponsored time travel project, the government, with it being about a time travel project, the government knew that he would eventually blow that whistle because, they were not ignorant to the
Yeah.
future. Now, he claims that part of the program involving the children was brainwashing the children. And that's why everyone, because there were 140 kids involved in it, that's why not everyone is coming forward because they're brainwashed. Some brains got washed better than others. And then others just don't want to put themselves
Scrambled.
out there. They have a nice normal life and they don't want to screw it up. He states that the government's they attempted to prevent him from ever leaking the information, because they saw in the future he was going to leak the information. So back in the past when he was a kid, what they did is they started with his brainwashing. They started to associate writing books and speaking out about the project with pain. So they would hurt him, and they would, like authors are bad. Whack. Telling about what happens here is bad. Whack. That kind of thing.
Just like you
And
train a puppy.
yeah. Now, whenever you hear that, when you watch the interview I watched, if you ever watch it, he is very proud that that he was able to power through and tell people everything that he knows about today. He is like, the only thing I can really credit this to is just the strength of my will. So it's like one of those things where he's like, yes, I am a badass. Please, you know.
No
I'm
autographs.
sorry you weren't there to see it, but yeah, I was a totally badass 12-year-old. Don't mess with me. Now, whistleblowing isn't enough nowadays. I mean, obviously, because look what happened with Boeing. I mean, yeah, a couple whistleblowers there, you get killed, and everybody's like, "Oh God, that's crazy! Oh God, you
Oh
see that
well.
TikTok?" Anyways, so when it comes to whistleblowing, you need power and attention. You have to get people's attention. And back in 2016, Andrew attempted to get power and some attention whenever he ran for president as an independent.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Uh,
year was this?
2016. So this is
2016.
this was the Trump Hillary election.
Oh,
Yeah. He wanted all of the people that voted for him to send him a postcard stating that they did so he could show the corruption in the current American electoral process. Which, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I agree with him on that. Shit's completely corrupt and I don't trust it. And that's kind of a smart way to do it, I guess, but it's not 100% sure. But I mean, you can be like, hey, look, I got 900 postcards and you said I only got like 800 votes because I assume there's at least 900 crazy people that vote for him. But,
absolutely.
But yeah, that was kind of nuts. But what he's doing now, since I don't mean to break it to you, but he did not win the 2016 election.
What percentage of the vote did he get? Did he get any votes?
Not that I've saw. It just kind of was like, hey, this town traveler is running for president. And that was about it. I mean, I imagine he wasn't included on most ballots. He was probably just doing a write-in campaign. So now he spends his time doing the podcast circuit and some television guest spots. On the bright side, the government hasn't taken any measures in the present to prevent him from blowing his whistles. They haven't blown his brains out, so good for him.
They ain't blown the right whistles yet.
Yeah. He still has presidential or vice presidential ambitions. From what I can see, he's not using his future knowledge or saying he will be in office, but that it is that he is likely that he will be in office by 2028.
No,
I mean, he's not. He's doing the whole psychic thing where it's like, I can't say for sure it is happening, but it's likely to happen. Whatever.
kind
Yeah.
of like a weatherman.
I mean, I will say this: it does not say much about a town traveler that isn't funding his campaign with lottery winnings, stock market,
Sports almanac.
profits, casino winnings. I mean, if he ain't smart enough to profit off of time travel, then I don't feel like his chances are very good of hitting those presidential ambitions.
No.
But I mean, what do I know? I mean, he still has another, if he's not running this election, he's always got 2028. So we'll see. I will say, and I don't know if you've been able to detect this, that I'm not really buying what he's saying.
No.
Yeah. It just seems the tiniest bit too fantastic. However, I will say that I hope he's not full of shit because I really want to go on time travel vacations.
I do
Despite
too.
at the beginning. I mean, I know me, and I'll absolutely grab my popcorn and watch JFK and Kurt Cobain's death, and probably Brittany Murphy's like last couple of weeks just to see if there was something shady behind that. Also, how awesome would teleportation be?
It would be great.
Oh God, no more getting stuck behind idiots in traffic or the
Oh yeah.
security line at the airport. No more dealing with traffic before you have to deal with being at work.
Or a 12-hour car ride to get where you need to be.
Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. People like me that still actually have to drive into an office, so that morning drive still grates me. It's not
Oh.
it's not the longest drive I've ever had. It's half of what my old one was, but still.
Well, going back to what you said a second ago about wishing time travel was real, with as many movies and TV shows and books and all these theories about it, makes you wonder if there is some truth to it. With as much research and that people have done, sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire.
There is a lot of debate because despite what Neil deGrasse Tyson says, I mean, he goes about things with a level of certainty that I don't always quite agree with.
He says it's so smooth, though.
Yeah, which I mean, anything regarding space, I do feel comfortable with him doing that because Einstein's theory pretty much covers how the universe works. Space on a grand level. But all of Einstein's theory of relativity does not apply at a subatomic level. The subatomic level, everything breaks those rules.
The time
And
rule, yeah.
well, not just time, yeah, time rules, but gravity rules, all this stuff. I mean, all
Ant-Man.
these rules, and so that's why you have quantum physics. Now they're still all the physicists out there are trying to have like one theory that can explain both, because it drives them crazy that you got these two things. One's that houses everything that's in existence, and the other is the base, the building blocks of all existence, and they don't mesh up, and it drives them crazy. So I think they kind of got to figure that part out before they start trying to figure out how to actually manipulate bends in time. There's a lot of really cool theories about it, though. Really, really neat ones that I've learned about during all this stuff. So, all right.
Interesting.
Well, I think that will do it.
Wait, one more question. Sorry. What kind of law did he practice? Just
it looked like civil law.
No.
He had a website, and I didn't really feel like looking at it because I'll be honest, I don't care. I mean,
he's a time traveling lawyer.
Yeah, he's a time traveling lawyer. On top of that, he's a dude that can pass the bar. That is impressive. He passed the bar. It's just that it's just so kooky that there's a dude out there that you in Washington State that you can get to represent you on a speeding ticket or or whatever, and he'd be like, "Hey, you've been to the future. Do we win this?"
He could have a badass commercial. To hell with Jim Adler, the Hammer. This guy's a time traveler attorney.
Maybe.
I see the commercial now.
Or he was. I mean, he hadn't traveled back in time since he was 12, so at least not that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't think they really let him into any of this. Which one of the things that I did come across is there's a lot of mentions of DARPA, which I don't.
Mention of what?
DARPA. DARPA. All right, so I'm not. Now that I know you don't know about it, look forward to a topic where Darrell's going to talk about DARPA. DARPA is very interesting.
DARPA. I'm gonna write it down.
Don't you research it.
How do you spell that again?
No, you don't get to. No, don't you look. If you Google it, I will cut you. All right. So this will do it because, I want to daydream. I want to stop so I can just daydream about time traveling to pick up famous women throughout history. Because seriously, who isn't going to want a piece of future man? I mean, yeah. So, I mean, Denise, babe, time travel hall passes will definitely be a part of future wedding vows, right, babe?
You're not in the same time area, time code.
Well, yeah. I mean, because Cleopatra, Rita Hayworth, our first grade teacher, all valid hall passes. All super valid hall passes. I ain't saying
when it's more appropriate age.
Yeah. I'd be, instead of being like a 6-year-old there, I'd be like the mature guy that it's like, because she was in her 20s. I mean, she'd be like, "Hey, you're an older guy that's awful stable and doesn't have a pedophile mustache like my husband." And I'll be like, "Yeah, that's right." Anyway. And I am an equal opportunity thing. She will be able to have her hall passes. So if she wants to go back in time and get a piece of Ben Franklin or Louis Pasteur or whoever the hell girls like in history, she's more than welcome. Just make sure they don't have syphilis. There's a lot of that back then. There's a whole lot of syphilis back then.
Yeah, to bring back some 1920 syphilis.
I mean, I think it would just be like standard protocol for like anybody that's going to do some time travel hookups that they got to double bag it, just be safe. Yeah.
Time travel condoms.
I mean, guys, it'd be easy. We put it on ourselves, but could you imagine a woman back there? Nay, lady, what are they trying to put on my cock? Get back, witch! Why is it glowing in the dark?
Why is it ribbed?
Who gives? I give not for your pleasure.
What's this tip all about?
It has caught my seed.
Oh, they blow up too. These are great.
Somebody gets messy and some archaeologist is like digging around, pulls up some crusty ass condom. It's like, God damn it,
you know where I go
for yourself. All right, well, I got some stuff to talk about with my wife, just in case we get some time travel going.
Yeah, you need your top 10 list.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jason, you need to figure out which of the Backstreet Boys you'd hook up with before you get ready to host next week's show. So
yeah, maybe NSYNC too. They were pretty good.
All right, well, be sure to review and comment, hit up Facebook, and let us know who who would be in your time travel body count. Who you gonna hit? Whose ass you gonna tap? I want to know all about it.
What kind of condom would you wear?
And if anybody says anything really weird, like Helen Keller, just so they can hear somebody go the whole time. All right, never mind. All right, she's on the list. Okay. All right. Well,
just to go back and move her furniture around.
No. I don't, it's here. Think about it. Get a recorder going and just be like, "Can you make a woman go?"
Funny thing is, she wouldn't even know she was making that sound.
You like that, don't you, ugly deaf bitch? Yeah. She didn't hear that, did she?
Oh my god!
You walk in the room dressed like Darth Vader, and she don't know.
No,
it's like
I have no idea.
Glow in the dark condom, Darth Vader outfit. And you're like, I finally get to do this and not be embarrassed.
Oh man, this has been the best closing ever.
All right, I think we got enough Waywut moments here at the end. Join us next time and comment and let us know your weird time travel.
Let us know your favorite condoms for time travel.
Well, Jason will just bye
later.
Just we're done. Thank you for listening to Waywut. We really appreciate it. Remember that we post episodes every Tuesday and would love for you to rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Pandora. If you are watching us on YouTube, throw us a comment, subscribe, and do all the other things that YouTube likes for you to do. You can stalk us on Facebook and X/Twitter with the handle Waywut Podcast. Once again, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit, and join us next time when we'll get you to say, Waywut.